Hello and welcome to the Dance Yourself Brave show, where we get real about the struggles dancers face, from confidence battles to self-doubt, and how dance has the power to make us braver, stronger, and more unstoppable in every area of life. I'm your host, Mariana Santos, founder of Michele Fitness. And whether you're a seasoned dancer, a dance instructor, dance lover, or someone who's always wanted to dance but feels a little intimidated to start, this show is for you. Expect honest conversations, inspiring stories, and simple ways to bring more dance into your life, whether that's in the studio, on stage, or right in your living room. And if you're a dance instructor, we've got you covered with tips on how to grow your dance business, attract more students, and create a bigger impact through your passion for movement. So if you're ready to step out of your comfort zone, own your movement, and dance yourself brave, let's do this. Hello and welcome to the Dance Yourself Brave show. So I'm your host, Mariana Santos, founder of Michele Fitness. And today I'm so excited because I have Michele Tabaroki, owner of Confidanze and Fitness, and she's a lover of dance since she can remember. Michele, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. I'm so excited you're here. So first, I want to know all there is to know about you because I've been following your studio for a while. And just the name itself, Confidanze, I feel like it really aligns to what we do with Michele Fitness, which is all about igniting confidence through dance. So tell me about how you got started with dance and just tell me your story. I want to know it all.
Well, it's a very long story. I'm going to try and keep it.
We have time.
Ever since I can remember, I have loved dance. I was born in Tehran, Iran. And as you can imagine, there wasn't that much opportunity for a young girl like myself to dance because while I was there, it was the beginning of the war. So it wasn't the first thing on my parents' mind. But there was a TV show that I used to tune into. I don't even know what day of the week it was. And it was this woman, I think she was Russian, and she was teaching ballet. And I would go and get my clothes on and wear my socks. I didn't have ballet shoes. And I would follow this woman. I was probably about 4 years old when I was doing this.
Wow.
And then when we moved, I grew up in Toronto, Canada. We moved to Toronto, Canada, myself, my mother, and my younger sister. And my mother was essentially raising us alone, and she was looking for after-school activities. And she said to me, why don't you try dance? Which to me was like hitting the jackpot. It was the most amazing thing that anyone could have ever offered me. So that was it. I started taking ballet. Then I started taking jazz. And unfortunately, by the time this all happened, I was 8 years old. Mm-hmm. In the dance world, starting at 8 is kind of late because with ballet especially, you start when you're 3 or 4 years old. Your body has to be molded a certain way. But nevertheless, I started and I wanted to go to the beginner class. I was with the 4-year-olds and they quickly moved me up. And I finally was able to join the girls that were my age.
Wow,
I did that for a couple of years.
Amazing. That's really cool.
It really was a dream come true. However, once my father joined us from Iran, there were other things on my parents' mind. They were starting to build a brand new life together, and they didn't really view dance as one of the important things. What most importantly was for us to find a new home and a community and a school, and for us to learn English and be able to thrive in a brand new world. So the dance kind of fell to the side, but it kept calling me. And every time I was able to sign up for something, or my mom would find a program that she could sign me up for, she would sign me up. But unfortunately, in the Middle Eastern culture, dance is not viewed as something that a young lady should be doing. And it was a little bit difficult for my father to allow me to dance, even though I can imagine. Think I was good. and my teachers were always pushing me to move forward, it was something that my father resisted, and rightfully so, because I understand I'm a mother of 3 kids myself, and you do the best that you can with what you are given. And for my father, dance was not a top priority. So it just kind of kept coming and going into my life. And I don't know, how much time do we have?
Well, my next question was, about the struggles that you face. And it seems like, that's kind of a lot of those struggles, right? Starting late, like you said, the dance world does start very young, right? So you didn't have that jump start that a lot of kids have. So like what I find amazing is that you had all these hurdles, but you kept going, right? You kept trying to find dance in your life somehow, right?
I would do dance parties in my house every Friday night when we would have our family over. We would have dance parties. I was the choreographer, and I would put these dance shows on with my cousins. I would watch MTV. Well, in Canada, it was called Much Music. I would watch Much Music.
I'm in Canada, so
You're in Canada.
I remember Much Music.
Much Music. I used to watch Much Music religiously. In Living Color was my everything. Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson. And I would record all their videos, and my friend and I would go into the den or wherever there was a TV. It wasn't like it was in every room. And I'm dating myself. And we would literally press pause on every single beat and learn exactly what Janet Jackson, or at the time J-Lo, was doing. So a lot of what I was learning throughout my teenage years was self-taught. And once I went to college, that just kind of stopped. But my best friend turned me on to Middle Eastern dance. And when I went into my first Middle Eastern dance class, it was like getting that gift that my mother had given to me at the age of 8 all over again. And I went into Middle Eastern dance. I joined a dance troupe. Didn't tell my father that I had joined a Middle Eastern dance troupe, because if you're going to be a dancer, being a Middle Eastern dancer or a belly dancer is even more frowned upon. In my world.
I see.
But I did it. But I continued and I persevered. And as an adult, that's how I got into teaching, is through teaching Middle Eastern dance. And by the way, my father now is completely behind me. He is so proud of me. He is always telling me that he's very proud of me. And the business background that I have, being able to have a fitness studio in a very small town for 11 years, I owe completely to my father, because he taught me the basics of what it's like to run a business. So the dance is on one side of it, but being able to run the business, completely different.
Two different worlds, for sure. Yes. Yeah. And I think that a lot of people, go into this, like they have this passion, right? You want to start a business based on your passion, but you have to know the business side things too, right? And sometimes we're a little bit hesitant to learn all of that, because it's like, I just want to do what I love. It's like, well, you won't be able to do what you love for very long if you don't learn the business side, right? So I love like the full circle moment where, your dad is now like your biggest supporter, and that's incredible. But I would like to know, like, that is so many awesome things that you just showed about, your perseverance and everything, but how did this whole process, like this full up and down journey, shape you as a person, and how does that affect your life today?
I didn't actually start teaching dance until I had my third child. My third child is now, he's 18 and a half.
Okay.
When he was 2 months old, so I live in New York now. I live in Long Island, New York.
Okay.
When I was going through having my children, the only form of exercise I knew was dance. So I went back to ballet and belly dance. Unfortunately, when my son was young, when he was little, my Middle Eastern dance teacher got very sick. And when she got sick, she started asking me to sub some classes for her. Unfortunately, she has now passed. But through that process of subbing for her, I started to kind of think, oh, wow, let me call this gym or this studio. And I literally started cold calling studios. And because my kids were in school, my baby was young, I was able to do evening classes, weekend classes when my husband would come home. And I just kind of started doing this as something for fun. And it just kept growing and growing. And then I got an opportunity to teach children, which was never something I was looking into. But teaching kids started to grow. And I quickly started to see that I am able to connect with children on a very different level. I think something that it was one of the questions you had asked me previous to this recording. One of the things that has shaped me is the fact that I was a very shy young girl. And dancing was the only thing that I remember would just drop this mask that I had. I would go on stage, I would do my thing, I would come off and people would say, wow, who is that?
Yeah.
I wasn't able to talk to adults. I was nervous. I was timid. I had a little bit of an accent, so I was shy about that. So I was able to connect with the children that I was teaching. And 15 years later, I think the biggest part of my business is kids. The reason I named the studio Confidence was because it's literally what I want to give to the community and to the kids.
I love that. And I love how you said that you were very shy, because I don't know if you get this, but I was also very, very shy as a teenager. And my story is a little bit different. I moved to Brazil as a teenager because my dad got a job there. And I, hated the fact that I had to leave behind my friends. I had to learn a new language. I was super self-conscious in my own skin. And I was forced to kind of step out into this new culture where everyone is more, outgoing, right? And but people nowadays, when they see me teach, they're like, oh, it must be so natural for you. It's so easy. I'm like, no.
It's not.
It was not. And it's still, because I'm still pretty introverted, right? But when I'm on stage dancing, right, it's it's a different Marietta, right? It's a completely different, it's a role that you put on, right? It's
100%.
like acting, right? So it's amazing that we can channel different sides of our personality through dance, and somehow that kind of shapes and molds who we are outside of dance too. So I think that's really cool.
We're very blessed.
We are. Dance is always a gift, right? And that's kind of part of the reason with this podcast is I want to show people just the impact that dance can have in your life. But the key is that you have to allow it to, right? So you have to be willing to go through the ups and downs, and you have to understand that you're probably not going to get it the first time, because no one does. So, and I think that with, this world of instant gratification and technology, and we're so used to snapping our fingers, clicking a button on our phone and just having things delivered to us. And we forget that the beauty of life happens through the process, through the journey, through the ups and downs, the trial and error, right? And I think the dance is the best way to do that. And what do you think is something that you wish your students knew about you? What would they be surprised to hear?
Almost 19 years teaching, I still get nervous.
Oh, okay.
I still get nervous. I teach about 20 classes a week.
Wow.
I still have to kind of talk myself into it. And something that I always tell my kids before they go on stage, I say having that feeling of being nervous means that you care, and it means that you love it, and it's something that you enjoy. I am not looking forward to the day when I'm no longer nervous to teach my dance classes.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I'm sure you've been teaching for such a long time that I'm sure you have a bunch of success stories. But I want you to tell me about maybe a recent success story, or one that just kind of jumps out at you the most. Which one could you share with us today?
I have a young lady that has been coming to me probably for about 3 years now. She's honestly everything that I wish I was at that age.
Wow.
She came into the studio, I want to say at the age of about maybe 15 or 16, which is not easy because she was coming into my adult classes. So after 14, they come into my adult classes. And, the majority of the people in the classes are women, women with children, the majority. And she was coming into these classes as a young girl, and she started off standing in the back, slowly made herself to the middle, and now is coming to the front. She comes almost every day. She is in college now. And she has recently started getting the woman off into a corner before class starts, because we open the doors a half hour before class, and they do strength training.
Wow.
She leads them, and they will do arms and squats. And then at the end of class, it's like a little pre-party and a post-party. At the end of class, they'll all get together and they'll start planking. And they started at, I think, 30 seconds, and now they've moved up to, I want to say, almost 3 minutes. And she has brought the ladies in my studio together. And I'm in awe of her. We call her a little princess because she's just so lovely and so inclusive of everybody. So
and a leader, right?
Big
leader
time.
at such a
Very
young
much.
age. That's
Very
incredible.
much. So that I think is my biggest success story. But I have to tell you, I have had hundreds and hundreds of young kids and women all the way up until the age of 80 plus come through these doors of Confidence. And I could write a book on all the amazing personalities, the things that they tell me, the things that they don't tell me, the things that they tell their friends who come back and tell me. This place is a very, very special place. It's a very, very special place.
I can tell just by just looking at you and that, that twinkle in your eye, I can tell that there's a lot of love in what you're doing. And I think that when you lead with love, things start to fall into place. And also you start to attract the right, tribe, right? Because if you are yourself, you're going to attract people who are like you, right? Who have similar energy and then that you're just meant to click with, right? So I think, I know we talked a little bit about the impact that you're making in the world, right? With confidence, boosting confidence. Is there anything else that is very, very important for you to, add to the world?
Something that I tell my ladies all the time, not everybody is a dancer. Not everybody has to come here. I have plenty of friends that have never set foot in my studio. But the main thing that I want all women to know is the importance of movement. When you stop moving is when your body falls apart. You have to keep moving, whether it is playing tennis or skiing or running or walking or dancing, or, sometimes people feel shy to take classes. There are so many wonderful virtual strength training classes, dance classes, whatever. That is the one takeaway that I want everyone to know, is the importance of movement. Because even when I go on vacation and I deliberately don't exercise while I'm on vacation because my body is in such turmoil during the week.
Yeah.
I get stuck.
20 classes a week. Yeah, you deserve a break once in a while.
Yes, but that's an extreme, and not moving is also an extreme.
Yes.
Movement has to be in our lives forever. It's not, I was telling this to a young group of girls last night. In my grandmother's times, exercising was seen as a luxury. It is not a luxury. It is an absolute necessity.
Yes, I agree. I completely agree. And what do you think the world needs more of nowadays?
Dare I say dance?
I mean, I wouldn't disagree with you.
Definitely dance. Again, the ladies that come through my studio, they are not all professional dancers. I have people who self-proclaim themselves as having 2 left feet, and I have people that have been in the professional dance world. There is nothing that should stop you, because when you dance, there is something that happens to your mood. The music, the movements, and incidentally, dementia, Alzheimer's, all of these diseases that unfortunately some people experience as they get older. Doing this, it's better than sitting and playing. I don't even know. What are all those games that you're supposed to play for your brain? Sudoku.
Oh, Sudoku. Okay. Yeah. Like word puzzle. I don't know.
Things like that. You know, they say you have to keep your brain active like that. Well, it has been proven that dance does that for you.
Yeah. And also, did you see the study that came out last year that showed that dance is the #1 way to fight depression too? So, I mean, dance is so powerful. And I think that people kind of think like, well, you know, I have to be a good dancer, or like, you know, it has to be natural, or I'm not going to have a good time. No, like you become like more used to it the more you do it, just like anything in life, right? You just have to allow yourself, right, to be a beginner and go with the flow and
we
laugh
have a
through the ups and
rhythm.
downs. Yes.
We have a rhythm in our hearts. And incidentally, we have to do hard things because that's what helps us grow.
Exactly.
I'm 51 years old and I have the most amazing instructors in my studio. And I have been pushing myself out of my comfort zone to take a dance choreo class once a week with one of my instructors because it's doing things in my brain that I haven't had happen since I was a teenager. Yes. Because what I do is dance fitness. There's a lot of repetition. Also, I don't take other people's classes usually, so it's whatever I want it to be. So pushing myself out of the comfort zone and learning something new has been a really big gift to myself.
Yep. And that's, I love that, because I think that people forget just how big of a gift it can be, right? Just to give yourself that gift of movement, of dance, and whatever style, you know, that really calls you, right? Like, obviously I teach Brazilian dance, it's dance fitness as well, but like there's so many different styles, right? So listen to the music, see what like your body responds to, right? Just sometimes I tell people, just listen to like a playlist in the morning when you're getting ready, brushing your teeth, making breakfast, and just like let your body move any way it wants to, and see how that sets the tone for your day. But not only that, you start to see like what your body likes and what it doesn't like, right? And then test out different styles and be like, hey, like, you know, I really liked hip hop. Find a hip hop class, like a beginner hip hop class. Like find whatever it is that is calling you and just listen to that voice, right?
100%.
Okay, let's say someone wants to start to dance, but they're feeling, you know, a little bit intimidated, right? Like they're a little bit curious. Like what's one piece of advice you would give them to just take that first step?
Honestly, first and foremost, just put the clothes on. Put your clothes on. So many people tell me that they are coming and they don't because of this fear that they have of not being whatever they see in our videos. I always just say the first thing you can, the best thing you can do for yourself is just to come in. If you hate it, don't ever do it again. But honestly, I've never had anyone come into this space or go into a dance class and say that they absolutely hated it, because there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Also, the beauty of one of the formats that I teach Zumba predominantly, and that's what we have in our studio. It is a dance fitness program that embodies every kind of dance you can imagine, from Brazilian to hip hop to salsa to reggaeton to anything, Bollywood, anything you can imagine. So if you don't like the salsa, the next song 3 minutes later, the merengue, you're going to like that. If you don't like that, you're going to like the hip hop. So don't be afraid. And you know what? If you hate it, you hate it. You never come back again.
Yeah. And I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? Like, okay, you won't come back, but best case scenario is you find a class that you love and you look forward to every week, right? And adds more joy to your life. So you have much more to gain.
Absolutely.
So now I want you just to share all about how people can reach out to you, follow you, anything you want to share. Just give it all to us so people can reach out and get in touch.
Thank you. So the name of the studio is Confidanze and Fitness, Confidence with a Z. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram, Confidence_fitness. We are on TikTok, Confidence. We are on our website, confidence.com.
Okay.
Have I missed anything?
So,
and we have a YouTube channel also.
Okay. And you said you're in Long Island?
We are in Long Island. We are just a train ride away from New York City. in a very small town called Great Neck. Lovely people, and we just love it here.
Well, that's great. And I'll make sure to include all those links in the show notes so people can click and reach out to you as quickly as possible. And thank you so much, Michele, for being on the show. You're actually my first interview, so I'm super excited. And, it's written in the stars.
I'm so honored. Thank you so much for reaching out.
Thank you for being here. And thanks, everyone, for listening. And stay tuned for our next shows. And make sure that you subscribe to our channel and keep reviewing and sharing with your friends so we can spread the dance love all across the globe. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Dance Yourself Brave show. If today's episode got you hyped, inspired, or just made you want to bust a move, do me a favor. Subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear today's message. Sharing is caring, after all. And hey, don't forget, your courage is already in you. Sometimes you just gotta dance it out to feel it. Catch you next time. Keep shining and keep dancing yourself brave.